The U.S. military possesses some of the most advanced stealth technology in the world. Stealth technology refers to the ability of aircraft, ships, or vehicles to avoid detection by radar, infrared, sonar, or other tracking systems. The U.S. has invested heavily in stealth since the Cold War era. The first true stealth aircraft, the F-117 Nighthawk, was unveiled by the U.S. in the 1980s. China was caught off guard by the success of U.S. stealth operations in past conflicts. One major example was during the Gulf War, when stealth jets struck targets with impunity. China's radar systems struggled to detect U.S. stealth aircraft in those missions. The U.S. stealth fleet now includes aircraft like the F-22 Raptor and the F-35E Lightning II. These jets are nearly invisible to traditional radar systems. China has tried to match this capability, but is still behind in key areas. The F-22 is known for its extreme maneuverability and radar evading capabilities. China fears it cannot detect or counter the F-22 effectively. The F-35 is also a multi-role stealth fighter with electronic warfare capabilities. Its ability to share data across the battlefield gives the U.S. a significant edge. China's own stealth jet, the J-20, is not yet on par with the F-22 or F-35. Analysts believe that J-20 sacrifices stealth for range and payload. Chinese radars are still vulnerable to U.S. low observable technology. U.S. stealth bombers like the B-2 Spirit can penetrate deep into enemy territory. These bombers can strike without being seen or intercepted. China's air defense systems like the HQ-29 struggle against such aircraft. The upcoming B-21 Raider will further widen the stealth gap. The B-21 is a next-generation stealth bomber with enhanced survivability. China lacks a direct equivalent to the B-2 or B-21. U.S. stealth drones like the RQ-170 and X-47B also pose a threat. These drones can gather intelligence or strike targets undetected. China fears such drones could disable key targets in the early stages of a conflict. U.S. stealth technology reduces the element of surprise for China's military. It makes defending Chinese airspace extremely difficult. Chinese military analysts have voiced concern about this imbalance. Even advanced Chinese radars have trouble tracking stealth aircraft consistently. The U.S. Navy is also integrating stealth into ships like the Zumwalt-class destroyers. These ships have a radar cross-section similar to a fishing boat. China relies heavily on radar coverage to protect its coastline. Stealth vessels can get close before being detected. U.S. submarines also operate with stealth, remaining hidden from sonar. This allows them to strike from unexpected locations. China's anti-submarine warfare capabilities are still developing. The U.S. uses stealth as a force multiplier in every domain. China fears it would be overwhelmed in the first hours of war. American stealth makes preemptive strikes far more feasible. China knows its air bases and missile systems could be disabled early. Without detection, China cannot coordinate an effective defense. This fear affects China's military planning and doctrine. The U.S. has rehearsed stealth-based war games in the Pacific. These games often simulate surprise attacks with minimal radar detection. China observes these exercises with concern. American stealth forces could bypass China's early warning systems. China is rapidly developing counter-stealth technologies. However, these efforts are not fully mature. U.S. electronic warfare and jamming also aid in stealth operations. The U.S. uses stealth not just to hide, but to dominate. Stealth aircraft can gather intelligence without risking detection. China fears losing key information to these surveillance missions. Stealth drones can map terrain, spot missile launchers, and track movement. This gives the U.S. real-time awareness of the battlefield. China sees this as a threat to its command and control infrastructure. American stealth gives options for both defense and offense, enables targeted strikes without full-scale war. China is aware of how stealth was used in Kosovo and Iraq. In those wars, stealth aircraft destroyed critical infrastructure early. Chinese defenses are modeled to counter large, visible air attacks. But stealth aircraft operate on entirely different principles. Stealth allows the U.S. to choose when and where to fight. China loses the initiative in any conflict involving stealth. The psychological impact of stealth warfare is also significant. Knowing the enemy can strike without warning affects morale. China has tried to boost morale with its own stealth efforts. But many of its systems lack real combat testing. The F-35 alone has over a dozen international allies using it. China sees this as a stealth network expanding across the Pacific. Countries like Japan, South Korea, and Australia operate the F-35. This creates a stealth-enabled coalition around China. China views this as a direct threat to its regional influence. The U.S. also uses stealth for rapid deployment of forces. Stealth airlift capabilities ensure surprise in logistics. China cannot intercept what it cannot see. Stealth increases survivability of high-value assets. This reduces U.S. casualties in hypothetical war scenarios. China cannot rely on missile saturation alone to counter stealth. Modern stealth platforms are designed to evade multi-layered defenses. The U.S. continues to invest in next-gen stealth coatings and materials. This makes detection even harder over time. China's satellite surveillance also struggles with low observable vehicles. American stealth extends into space, cyberspace, and electromagnetic domains. Stealth is now integrated into U.S. military doctrine. It is not just a technology, it's a full-spectrum strategy. China realizes it must play catch-up or remain vulnerable. This fuels a global arms race in stealth and anti-stealth. U.S. stealth remains combat-proven and widely deployed. China's systems are largely untested in real war conditions. American stealth allows control of timing and tempo in any conflict. China fears a black start, a stealth strike that cripples their forces instantly. This fear limits China's strategic options. U.S. stealth aircraft can penetrate deep into China's A2, AD bubble. They can reach inland targets that are otherwise considered safe. China is trying to develop quantum radar and AI-assisted tracking, but these technologies are in early stages. Meanwhile, the U.S. continues to lead in stealth innovation. The fear of the unknown, of invisible U.S. weapons, shapes China's defense mindset. That is why China truly fears the U.S. military's stealth technology.